choosing the wrong laptop isn't because you're careless. It's because the market is very confusing, and I understand as to why that confusion comes in. But in this video, I want to break down why most people end up with laptops that don't match up their needs, and how can you avoid making the same mistake. So we understand you as the watcher. When you go to the market looking for a new laptop, there are so many shops. There's shop K, there's shop X, there's shop S, there's shop M, there's shop J, all with the same series. So somebody is looking for ZBook, somebody is looking for Dell, Latitude, somebody is a Legion somewhere. There is ThinkPad there is a ThinkPod, there is a Mac, there's an iMac, there are workstations, There's so many units that are so similar, and it's very confusing. And I'm talking from a point of experience. Myself, when I walked into my first laptop, I was totally confused. There's a place called Luthuli Avenue. It is very notorious. Not to discredit it, but it's very notorious around Nairobi. Some shady deals, but there are good people there. But if you're not careful what you're looking for, you end up going home in tears, or you can end up home with a good deal. Depends with how prayerful you are. Doesn't matter which religion you are, but that place you have to walk with faith so that you find the good deal. So speaking from experience, I walked into so many laptop shops and I was really confused. I have never bought a laptop before, so I had my cash somewhere hidden. Like, I was carrying a lot of cash, and at that time carrying a lot of cash was tricky, because if somebody was following you up, it would be risky. Then when you walk in those shops, you find so many series. Like that laptop behind me was one of those confusing stuffs that you'd find on the shop. So you walk into this shop, you find Latitude, you find a ThinkPad, you find Pavilion, and you find so many things that can confuse you. But there are key things, guys, you can take away, and that's what I want to point it out. So there are too many options, which is equals to confusion. From specs to brand reviews, most buyers get overwhelmed and rush the decision. So you don't take time to process what you have listened, what you have watched, what you have read somewhere. So you have that rush to go and buy something. So that's a mistake people make. So that's one of the things people do. And we are human beings, we understand. But the reason as to why you make those mistakes is because of that reason number one. Okay, reason number two, people follow the wrong signals. Price, hype, trends often influence decision more than actual needs. So you find like the MacBook Neo is trending, so everybody is rushing towards MacBook Neo, and they're saying, "Hey guys, buy MacBook Neo." That kind of hype. So people are following price, hype, and trends, and they often make a mistake in their PC purchase decision, and that decision can affect the actual need. So you find you have bought yourself your MacBook Neo, and probably you might not really use that laptop in the long run. So what's the use of you buying it? If at all you bought it because you want to follow certain trend. So that's a wrong step. Don't do that. Then the other thing, the one size fits all myth, like the way people that kind of quote for shoe, like saying people wear this kind of shoe, this size, it fits you, everybody, that kind of myth. A student or designer and a business user should never use the same type of laptop. And I mentioned it before. Laptops are tailored for different uses. You can never be somebody who's doing lightweight tasks and buy a gaming laptop. You'll be overreaching yourself. You don't need it. You'll be wasting time. Buy the right laptop for you. Same case as a designer or content creator. Don't buy a substandard laptop. I'd call it substandard because if it doesn't meet the threshold for your softwares to run, then it's a substandard. There is no nice word to say it, but I have to be blunt. And I won't apologize. Then the other thing I need to comment about is the cost of wrong decisions. So you see slow performance, frustrations, early upgrades, and wasted money. So as a result of making those earlier wrong choices, so the cost of that choice impacts you in a different way. Some of you will experience the slow performance, others will experience frustrations, others will experience early upgrades, when you're working and suddenly Windows notifies it needs to update. And finally, wasted money, depending on what you have bought in the market. Then the truth. Let me tell you the real truth. The truth is not about the best laptop. It's all about the right laptop for you. Let me break down some few points. So I need to address something called the confusion. So confusion is the real problem and not lack of knowledge. So I wouldn't say people don't know what they really want, but it's that confusion. So people don't usually fail because they are careless. They fail because they are overloaded. And one of the key things is that there are too many brands. So there is the HP, there is the Dell, there is the Lenovo, there is the Asus, there are Macs, there are iMacs, whatever the Macs that are available in the market, they cause a confusion. So there are too many brands. Then there are too many specs. There's no specific spec people are going. So you're told 8 GB, you're told 16 GB of RAM. The other place you're told, the 10th generation, 9th generation, 8th generation, 13th generation. So for typical users, that's a lot of information to process. Then the other thing is there are too many opinions online. You're told don't buy Lenovo, don't buy Dell, don't buy MacBooks, don't buy iMacs, don't buy Asus, don't buy Acer, don't buy... So there's so many, there's so many opinions online. Then, as a result, people rush decisions just to get it over with. You want, I don't want to deal with it. Let me just buy and I get over it. So when people are confused, they don't choose the better, they choose faster. So, secondly, I'd like to address the 3 traps people fall into. So trap number 1, price-driven decision. Let me rephrase it again. Price-driven decisions. So one of the things I'd say, people tell themselves, let me just get the cheapest laptop. There is this saying that says, to be cheap is to be expensive, or it is expensive to be cheap. So those are the common sayings that, you guys should understand. And then it's the short-term saving. It results into a long-term frustration. Listen again. Short-term saving will result into long-term frustration. So, and then the trap number 2 is the hype and trends. So people say, oh, let's get MacBook Neo. It's popular, blah, blah, blah. It has this, the press, the key press, that kind of, hype people usually say. And then they tell you everyone is using it. They tell you everyone is using it. So why would, if at all you want to use it, let it be from your own choice, made from long-term analysis of the device. So never rush. Then trap number 3, copying others. So you say friends have bought it, your cousin has bought it, your dad has bought it, influencer has recommended it. But the underlying thing is different workflows are different requirements. So what works for them can fail you, or what works for you can fail them. So just understand. And then the other thing I need to explain is the one size fits all. Then you find that students or people who are doing studies, they usually do light tasks, and they value portability and a machine that has good battery quality. For designers, they require display quality and good RAM and GPU. For a business user, they need reliability, battery, and portability. For video editors, they require good CPU, good GPU, and good cooling. But yet, you will also find that most people will buy the same laptop for all these roles. So the thing is, it can never be uniform for everyone. And mind this, a laptop is a tool, and every tool has a specific job. Listen to it. A laptop is a tool, and every tool has a specific job. So then I'd like to discuss the consequences about, the real cost for a wrong laptop. So not just only money. So consequence number one, there is the lag during work. So, you're working and your project is lagging. You're editing video and it's lagging in rendering. Then there is the crashes during deadline. You have bought a machine, installed a software, but somehow while you try to run it, it crashes when you're doing work and you have deadline. So that's a very crazy feeling when you, especially office users, those who I usually, advise in terms of this. And then there's the slow rendering. Video editors understand what I mean. And then there's the constant frustration because of the wrong laptop choice. And then there are forced upgrades. And then there is buying another laptop too soon. The wrong laptop is more expensive than the right one. Like I said, it is expensive to be cheap, or to be cheap is expensive. It's all about you buying the right laptop. Based on those points that I've mentioned, people still are making choices that affect their productivity. So if you're a designer and you end up buying a wrong laptop, it will cost you your projects. Let's say you are using Canva, maybe you're using ArchiCAD for either interior design, or graphic designers who are using Photoshop, illustrators, and then you buy the wrong laptop and you install those softwares. Believe me, if you install the latest, especially the latest Photoshop, it consumes a lot of raw power, and that involves your GPU and the CPU. So if those components are not right for that Photoshop, believe me, you'll have a hard time trying to create artwork, rendering something, because each time you try to render, it crashes. You render, it crashes. Then you're forced to install a very old software. And some of those risks of downloading those very old softwares, you'll have to find that they are no longer available. So you have to look for cracked ones. And as a result, if people download the wrong cracks, chances are being hit by the malware are higher than just buying or getting the actual software, which is recent, but with a good supporting hardware. So you have a good CPU, you have a GPU, and you have at least a Gen 4, Gen 5 NVMe SSD, and you have good external options, external backup options. So those are some of the things that people should consider. We are human beings. We make mistakes. That's why this video is here to help you make those choices, the right choices, so that when you walk into a shop, you go to buy exactly what you need. Don't go looking for this, looking for that. You will be told so many things and you'll be confused. At the end of it, you'll just give out your money and get the wrong device and end up complaining online how you are conned or taken advantage of, or short deal or bad deal or quacks, those kind of negative reviews people usually post online. So it's good to take your time to invest in research and go in once you have the right machine in your mind, so that you save your money by buying right and buying for long-term use. Remember, the bare minimum I recommend for machine is between 8 to 10 plus years of performance without anything happening, without either falling or, either liquid spill or either heat damage or anything, any kind of physical damage. So 8 to 10 plus years. I would like to remind you guys that I offer PC consultation service for those of you who are looking for laptops, whether you're students, whether you're a designer, whether you're a business. So let me assist you to look for the right kind of units that you need to use. Whether you want to edit videos, whether you want for video conferencing, whether you want to do coding or programming, let me find this laptop for you guys. So reach me down below on the contacts below, and let's begin our journey to understand the right kind of laptop that you need. So see you guys, and bye bye.